Before I begin, let me ask, and who was it? Someone just came over to me and asked me a question. Any burning questions, just shout them out. I want to kind of gauge your, oh, we're okay? Oh, we have a mic, yes. I want to just gauge your understanding of LinkedIn to see which way we take this. We could go back into LinkedIn.com, which we did this morning, or we could follow more my presentation track, which goes into rocking your profile. So I just want to understand, I see a lot of nods. That's where you guys want to go? Yes. Okay, definitely. Any burning questions or themes? If you shout about, I'll repeat them, that you want to hear about. I heard about endorsements and skills.
Yeah, I was curious about endorsements.
Curious about endorsements and skills, okay. Expertise. Oh, it's like showcasing your expertise, okay. Recommendations is another big one. You guys want to talk about that? Yep.
I was going to ask if you could share, but just to a group and not to everybody.
Share just to a group, yeah. So one of the things we talked about this morning, which I can show you, is just controlling your settings a little bit more so you know kind of what you're sharing with your network. Okay, that's good.
What about like the right way to use it to network, like outside of the people I already know? Are there some tools or tips about how to do that?
Yeah, how to network. Yeah, we can do a search online. That's definitely what we can get to. You guys are giving me a lot to think about, sure.
How to develop a good headline for your resume?
Great, good headline. How accurate are the endorsements? They're not that accurate. I'm going to tell you a secret. No. Okay, we'll get into it. Definitely a lot of profile questions, so this is good. Obviously, that's what we want to talk about, rocking our profiles. Yeah.
What makes a strong summary? So maybe the top 3 things recruiters, employers, and your colleagues will find attractive.
Right. What makes a good summary so that your colleagues, employers, peers find your profile attractive? Definitely. You guys kind of like teed me up for what we're going to cover, so this is good. Anything else? Burning questions or things you want to cover? Yeah, one more.
This is a little bit different, but if a headhunter contacts you because of your LinkedIn page, I'm just wondering how to use that to get the job, I guess.
If a headhunter contacts you because of your LinkedIn page, how do you respond to that? Well, I think today is definitely about growing your career, so I can frame that from the standpoint of like internal opportunities, if that's helpful. Yes?
How to design your page if you have 2 career paths that really don't overlap right now?
Okay. Yeah. I think what you'll see with the profile is I don't have answers, to all these things, and there's a lot of different ways you can answer them and be successful. So it really starts with, and we'll get into this, like your intention, your passion, and what you want to come through, which is way different than what a resume looks like, right? And again, it's used for career opportunities, it's used for networking and searching within your group, it's used for building your skill set, finding content. So, all right, so we'll get into it. And if you were in my morning session, just raise your hand. We had a real interactive session. I don't love presenting as much. I love the conversation. So just raise your hand and we'll get a mic over to you. So quick intro on me. Deborah right here in the front row asked me if this is what I do, and I consult on profiles. Not necessarily. I do work for LinkedIn. My name is Larry Gould. I actually represent the team that supports your talent acquisition team. So the team here at Berkeley, through University of California overall, has purchased services to help you guys as a campus bring in the best talent into Berkeley, into University of California. I represent those services, but a lot of what we do for universities, for employees, for technology companies, is we talk about being your own brand ambassador and leveraging your LinkedIn profile. So I'm not an expert per se, but it's absolutely what I do day in and day out. Talk about LinkedIn, talk about the services and the value of the network, okay? So what we're gonna do, we always like to start with an update on our business. Sorry for those that were in my morning session. It's gonna be repetitive. You can check your phone or something while I go through that. So again, it's a unique business if you know us. and our leadership. So I want to just go through our business and who our membership is, which might be eye-opening to some of you guys. Then we're going to skip over LinkedIn 101. You guys are focused on the profile. So we're going to get right into the power of the profile, rocking your profile. There's 8 things that we talk about, the essential 8. Collectively, they make a huge difference in having a fully robust profile. And then you've got the profile, you understand how to use LinkedIn. How do you begin sharing content with your network, and why do you do that? If we get to it, bonus, I put down there long form posts. There's actually the ability to blog or write an article for every LinkedIn member now and publish it to their network. Some of you may not have that already, it's coming, but I can show you how to do that and how to apply for kind of the pilot phase if you're a writer or blogger. Make sense? I love the question around networking, leveraging your network. So I will try to get onto LinkedIn and show you some simple searches you can do. Sound good? So these are the exact same slides, but so I think this was more fitting this morning. I just thought this was kind of cute. If you haven't seen this, right? Social Media Explained. You could just read this for yourself. But LinkedIn is obviously, it's a professional social network. So in this funny graphic here, LinkedIn is about, my skills include donut eating, where on YouTube it's watch me eating my donut, or Instagram, look at me with my donut. Okay, so it's about your skills, LinkedIn. But what about the business? So let's talk a little bit about the business. I'll go quickly, but again, I think the context is really important to get you in the mindset for what your profile should be and what you should convey. We're not a job board. We're not solely in business to make money and drive leads for advertisers. We're a very mission-driven organization. Our mission is to connect the world's professionals and make them more productive and successful. Our vision is really to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. And we've had a lot of growth towards that vision. We'll get into the membership in a bit, but 300 million members worldwide on LinkedIn out of the nearly 600 million worldwide professionals. And we're aspiring to get everyone on LinkedIn, all of the global workforce, okay? With everyone on LinkedIn, we can truly create what our CEO calls the economic graph, mapping every individual, every company, every skill, every university, professional knowledge, every opportunity in one place. And with that knowledge, we can do a lot of different things. We can help in areas of underemployment, people who aren't fully utilizing their skills. We can help people coming through college, acquiring the right skills and seeing the skills required to get to certain opportunities. We can even predict unemployment and map career paths at scale. So again, think about us in a sense of really putting the member first and putting this vision into action. We are a business, we have to make money, right? So here's how we do it. There's 3 business units within LinkedIn. The group that supports talent acquisition, HR professionals, the organization that I'm part of, the hiring solutions business. Advertising, which is market in the middle here, right? The advertising that you see on LinkedIn. And then we have a sales solutions business, transforming the way that sales professionals interact with their clients and prospects through social selling, okay? A little bit on our business. Now let's talk about members. Why do members come to LinkedIn? Obviously, it's their online professional profile of record. This is obviously what everyone knows us for. And the networking that comes with that, searching your network, building your network, reaching out to your network. People come to LinkedIn to be great at what they do and to get insights. And we'll talk about how you can leverage some of the insights on LinkedIn and drive that content out to your network. And obviously, we're in LinkedIn 201 here, so you guys all have the mobile app, right? Nods. You guys are crushing it. So, but what you may not know, from the insights perspective, which has been a shift in our business, we're the #1 digital business publisher in the world. When you take all the influencers we have, all the publishers on LinkedIn, the groups, the company pages, that's more than any other business publisher like the WallStreetJournal.com. So a ton of content for you to leverage with your networks, and leverage for your own personal development. All right. Again, now looking a little bit deeper at our membership, 300 million members worldwide. It's nearly 2.5 new members joining per second. Student and recent graduates is a huge growth area for us, nearly 10% of our membership base. We define recent graduates as 1 to 2 years out of school, and increasingly coming in through mobile applications, which has an impact on the way we look at one's LinkedIn profile and rocking your profile. It's got to be optimized for viewing on mobile platforms. You can see it's global growth. 1/3 of our membership is in the United States. We're in China, I mentioned this morning. We're the only social network in China. We're the 12th most trafficked website in the world, ahead of Amazon.com. So just tremendous growth. I think last slide on this section is, you guys are the advanced class, so to speak. But again, if you're in marketing and high tech, you're on LinkedIn. If you're an engineer in the Bay Area looking for a job, you're on LinkedIn. But is the education industry on LinkedIn? And the answer is increasingly yes. You guys are a testament to that. Here are the recent numbers I pulled. Over 2 million active US members in the education industry on LinkedIn, representing 55,000 companies and universities. Nearly half have read an InMail, so they're using our messaging, and those are the top functions there. Make sense? Okay. So we're going to skip over the 101 stuff. Let's get into why the profile is so important. We're the #1 digital business publisher online. We've got all this rich content, but the #1 activity is still viewing other people's profiles, right? It's what you guys do. That's what we all do. I'm not going to, you guys know this stuff. This was more 101. Who's viewing your profile? Someone internally that you're interviewing with to progress your career. Someone who's looking to grow their career and network with you. Someone you're partnering with or selling to. Someone you're mentoring, friends, family, colleagues. The answer is everyone's looking at your profile, right? In some capacity. And first impressions count. So we're going to get into what it looks like to rock your profile. Am I building up? Is this good? Are you guys fired up? Okay. I used to work at this company, NASDAQ OMX. Russell's got a profile. He's filled it out. He's put his name. He's put his title. He's got his experiences here. So he's got a profile. He's even got 269 connections. Okay? But look at the difference with Mary's profile. Okay? Great picture, engaging headline, summary packed with passion, rich media, so I can interact directly with content that she wants to share. Totally different experience. Whether you're looking to grow your career, whether you're looking to network with someone, what's going to make them respond to you? And it's a fully built out profile. Okay. So what are the essential 8? It starts with a photo. These are actual photos, LinkedIn photos. So, it's a professional social network. I think if you're a cartoonist, then maybe the avatar is okay. Otherwise, we would definitely advocate a headshot of some kind in a professional setting. It's super simple to add one. We all have Android or iPhones. But literally, if you do one thing today and you don't, how many people don't have a picture? Don't be shy, right? I mean, we have like a third of the room. LinkedIn profiles with pictures get viewed 11 times more than profiles without a picture. Plus, there's a lot of things you can read about this. What is it saying about you if you're on LinkedIn, you've got a profile, but you're not putting your picture on there? You're using the network. So it's a must do. Again, everyone has their individual reasons for doing things. If there's a strategic reason with intention for not putting one up, I certainly respect that. But just be thoughtful about if you're trying to leverage your network, grow your career, and you just haven't gotten around to doing it, that is the first thing we talk about. Number one, photo. Number two, we call leaving behind leave a positive footprint behind. So you have the ability to put your job title in LinkedIn. But increasingly, what we're advocating is not just putting your job title of what you do, putting what you're passionate about. Do you guys know Bruce? Yeah, right? He was in my last session. I don't see him here. I love this. You know, he puts finding, developing, and retaining world-class talent for the #1 public university in the world, go Bears. He doesn't say Director of Talent Acquisition. This is a company of mine down in Silicon Valley. David Reese is the VP of Human Resources, People and Culture, defeating mediocrity and changing the world. And he puts a plug in there. We are hiring. Here's a couple from some of my LinkedIn colleagues. I think you don't need to be as progressive as we are, per se. But I think the question someone asked was, how do we do it, right? Or what should it say? You know, again, we talk about being packed with passion. This is not a resume. So here, someone give me a job they're in. Yes? Financial analyst. Someone else give me a job they're in. No. Hold on. A recruiter. A recruiter is easy because that's the business I'm in. You could say connecting talent with opportunity at UC Berkeley. Nailed it. Financial analyst.
Connecting expenses with budgets.
That was funny for the video, connecting expenses with budgets. You know, I think, you know, is there something that that excites you about that, or that's interesting, or what? Meaning.
Obviously, I like detail and numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Position, but how do you scoop that? How do you make an accounting financial?
Yeah, you know, and again, you could see that, you know.
Numbers come to life.
We have a copywriter in the back, making numbers come to life, right? And you could see Bruce put like "Go Bears" in his. You could do that. You know, this is what someone's really going to make a decision on in 3 seconds on their iPhone, right? So I would say you can see the importance of creating that headline. Don't overdo it if it doesn't feel right. I think it's totally okay to say just financial analyst, passionate about driving performance at UC Berkeley. Go Bears. You know, something like that. You know, another thing that we do a lot with companies is get together with your group or your team and brainstorm it out. Get her to sit down with you. But you can see you know, it's, and look at your friends' networks, do a Google search on LinkedIn headline. But just getting creative about it so that it feels authentic and it matches what you're doing. Make sense? Cool. Right, like, again, I just go back to that example of Russell, not rocked, Mary rocked. You know, if it just said recruiter, but you know, passionately connecting talent with opportunity. So the next thing is contact information. So again, if you guys are in LinkedIn, and we're not going to do it right now because I'm going to keep a good look at the time. Under edit profile, then edit contact information, you can add your email address. Again, you're on LinkedIn, you're putting a photo up. Let's go all the way. Put your email, put your email in there. Put websites or blogs that are meaningful to you or meaningful to your job in there. Create a vanity URL. Have you guys created a vanity URL? Anyone? A couple? Right, for search engine optimization purposes, for including a cleaner looking URL in your email signature. We definitely advocate cleaning that URL up. So you can see in Stacy's case, it's linkedin.com/in/Stacy Takeuchi. It's a cleaner link than a whole long string that wouldn't make a lot of sense if you pasted it in an email to someone. Does that make sense? I'm seeing a puzzled look over there. Okay. Easy to do, so edit profile, edit contact information, and it'll get you there. Do you want me to go there now, or we're good? We're good. See, I'm just giving you guys the tools. I'm not giving you all the answers, right? Someone asked this, how do I write a summary packed with passion, I think was the question. Or how do I write my summary? And the answer is, you put passion into it. You make sure it's not what you would see on a resume. And I'm sure there's been a great session on resume building here. But again, different purpose here. So let me just build one more time. If this is readable, this is one of my colleagues at LinkedIn. You guys can read that while I'm talking.
It's more like a cover letter, is it?
It's more like a cover letter, absolutely. And even more so, where like a cover letter is really focused on maybe getting a job or getting that action. This is stating what you're passionate about professionally, why you do, what you love personally. So Kevin, this is his summary, who's a colleague of mine. A longtime San Francisco resident, believe the city feeds my interest of culture, media, and technology. Social media is a part of my daily life. Definitely tell who you are, right? A good template, if you need a little help on that, is do two paragraphs and then a list of your skills. And it doesn't have to be a long paragraph. The first paragraph could be about what you do professionally and why you're passionate about it. The second couple sentences could be about you personally. New York native, passionate about pizza and the New York Jets, and when not working, love spending time with my kids and fly fishing, whatever it is. Some of that's true. So I would do a couple sentences professionally, couple sentences personally, and then listing out specialties or skills that you have. People often ask about that. There's a skills section. Do I want to put my skills in the summary? Go for it. It's really up to you. People feel passionately about the endorsements not being accurate or giving the wrong sense of what a person is. So list your specialties up here. Specialties, colon, and then a short string. Make sense?
It makes too much sense.
It makes too much sense.
If I just want to call a little bit of corporate BS here, what in this summary description would not be true of anyone in this room or any of the 3 million people on LinkedIn?
300 million.
300, yes.
Yeah.
How does this mark out the person who puts this as their summary as being anything other than interested in being on LinkedIn? The only thing that's, to me, when you read this, that comes out is they're inquisitive and curious. Other than that, there's nothing specific or there's no quality in this description that distinguishes them from the other 299 million people on LinkedIn.
Well, you're certainly entitled to that opinion. Kevin works with my clients specifically, advocating and training on LinkedIn. So with that context, if you're a customer of his and you read this, I think you get a feel for who he is. I think maybe it's a little generic. But I think then do it differently. If it feels differently, do it different for yourself. But you're not saying everyone's summary is generic.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that you're listing this as an example of the kind of things that people should be doing.
Yeah.
And it seems to me that if we're using this as a way of building our networks and sort of advancing our careers, we should be bringing whatever is authentic about ourselves and that also makes us distinct.
Absolutely.
And this doesn't strike me as all that distinct, and it doesn't actually even strike me as all that authentic. Because it sounds to me like he's saying what people want to hear.
I think it's a component. It's basically, if you see it just by itself, it looks a little bit
Yeah.
not that it. But when you see the whole page and you put together the summary, the education, where has it worked, it gives you a picture of who the person is. By itself, probably doesn't give you a lot, but it's a whole
Yeah.
component of the whole page.
I value that opinion. Again, it's with that context that I put it there. I love Kevin and I like his summary. You don't have to like it. We don't need a rebuttal. I can read one more here, but if you have any thoughts on good summaries, yeah.
Oh, I have a thought on someone's comment.
Yeah, sure.
I can see the different perspectives, also the recommendations you get from your clients, your bosses, colleagues. I think
Yeah.
that also gives you more value on your LinkedIn.
Sure.
So it's not just me putting content up, it's also other people validating what I'm saying.
Yeah. Other people validating what you're saying, sure.
I think it's also about what does your audience want, and they're looking for some spark of personality, and if that's not you, then you don't write that. But
Yeah, I mean, all social media, your authentic voice, right? You know, these are hard to see. You know, this might be more specific up your alley, this person here. During my 14 years in recruiting, I've had the opportunity to connect amazing talent with world-class teams. I love digging in and getting to know new products and services, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's more authentic to you, maybe it's not. Write it in your own voice. Oh yeah, please.
I have a smaller question.
Sure.
I think. So you asked if we have a LinkedIn on our iPads and our phones, things like that. So I'm having trouble with creating a bullet point on my computer, and it's not translating onto my phone. So it just looks like a massive space between a whole bunch of paragraphs.
Okay.
It's looking really cluttered. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I have no idea how to help you.
I mean, I know the code. There's a code to put a bullet, and I have that code. No? Okay. I'll ask you later.
Just on that, there was also a question around settings and what content you share with your network versus not sharing. So I'm just going over to LinkedIn here just to show you. There's the Help Center. So we went into this in the last session. It's great. You can type in a question, and you went there?
Yeah, and that's why I got the code for the bullet point.
Perfect. There's also a form. You could always fill out the form and say, can someone call me, or can I have an email address? And then while I'm in here, just to show you guys, under the privacy and settings, some people don't even know, excuse me, this is up over here. This is where you can change the privacy settings on your profile, turn on and off activity broadcasts, turn on and off how I rank, communications, right? Setting the preferences for yourself there. I want to come back to the profile.
Regarding that,
We have one question, yeah.
I was just gonna ask with regards to every time you update your profile, it sends say if you change the title on your job and it sends out a mass email to all your contacts. This is how you can turn that on?
Yes,
Okay.
it's in here.
is it the first one?
This one, I think so. So coming back to the profile. These are the four most important things when you think about a LinkedIn profile. I would say they're the most important things because people make a quick decision on your LinkedIn profile, and they make it on their mobile device increasingly based on your headline, your photo, your contact information, yes, or the completeness, and your summary, which is typically the top thing. You can certainly reorder it, but typically the top thing. So the question here, number 5, complete but short work history. I think the question here is, we get are a couple things. One is, how complete should I be? I've been with UC for 20 years. How do I showcase that, right? Or, for folks that are older, I don't want to show that I'm my age. I get that question a lot. right? So do I cut off my work history? You know, we advocate your LinkedIn profile being your authentic self and what makes you you. So we definitely talk about filling out a full work history, certainly being shorter on the older things, and bringing more content up to your current role. Make sense? Questions around this? Differings of opinion?
I have a quick question. This whole idea of putting a photo on your LinkedIn, what are people looking for? Just to see your age, your gender, your race? I mean, what's the significance of that?
Yeah, the question is, what's the significance of having the photo? What are people looking for? I can't speak for everyone out there, so I don't know what everyone is looking for. I just think when you think about owning your career path and leveraging your profile and then using LinkedIn to build your professional skills, why not put a photo up there?
Okay.
If you're on LinkedIn, again, if you have a reason not to, I respect that. But we just know there's not as much traffic through maybe Google searches, maybe our own searches. We're not serving those as much. I don't know.
Okay. Then I have a second question. I took 10 years off to be a full-time mom between 2002 and very recently.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's been such a struggle to get back into the workforce. So I feel like I need to be more comprehensive. And unfortunately, the bulk of my career happened before I had a child, but it's dated.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you balance that?
Right, the question around you've got a gap in your work experience from like pre-family to post-family. That's a question for the awesome career services team here at UC Berkeley. I mean, again, you know, what we certainly talk about is that true and authentic self. I think it's okay. People ask me, is it okay to put my university but not put the date?
Right.
Sure. Why not? I mean, you know, there's no right or wrong answer. I think it's okay. I think it's okay to show that gap and maybe explain it a little bit. Yeah. Right. Oh. See, we're making connections here. You know, again, I guess another way to look at it is as you make connections to find and then reach out to people to find new opportunities, to just network with people. Just think about what they're going to see, and if there's incompleteness, maybe they won't respond to you as much. And I can show you what that looks like, right? Even if you send them a message or reach out to them, they're going to come and look at your profile. Why is this gap there? I don't understand it. Why is there no picture? Again, maybe that person won't say those things, but I like the intention.
I mean, as a recruiter, that's what I do. When I interview you, I'm looking at your profile. I'm looking to see, one, are you approachable by having a picture, and it helps fill in the gaps. If you don't have a cover letter, I'm looking to see, you know, just trying to compare the two. So LinkedIn is that's what we do. That's our first place where we go after the resume.
Also, like being someone who's recently been hiring, when people don't put dates, we're like, why? What do you have to hide? I feel like it's better to like just own it.
Own it was the comment. Absolutely. I would generally agree.
For the summary, I've seen some people write their summary like, my name is Grace. So I'm like, Grace has been working in your person for 5 years. I don't know, when I read that, I think it's kind of weird. I'm my biggest fan of beginning, but why do people do that? Should we do that versus like the I statement and the cover letter? What is your opinion on that?
Yeah, no, write it from like your voice, not in the third person. Recruiters, right?
Yeah.
That's a big no-no. I mean, again, if there's some reason, if you're an author or, I've seen some really fun and different profiles, but generally speaking, don't do that. Yeah.
So in just reading what this next one is, it's looking like the descriptions are explaining a lot about the industry or the company itself. Is that an appropriate use of where you're describing your work history? I mean, you would hope that if someone's looking at your LinkedIn profile, they would know a little bit or have other resources to find out what is appropriate.
Yeah, you guys are on it. And so I flipped to the next slide quickly because the intention of why I have that in there is also not catered to this audience specifically. That was teaching someone who was helping their hiring managers just find content to put up, because some content's better than no content, but no, that's not the right approach. The right approach is a couple sentences about what you're doing and why you do it and why you love it. Absolutely. So with that, I'll move on. So once you have a complete work experience, recommendations. I'm guessing this is going to draw some questions from you guys. So the thing that I want to say is, again, think about a profile that's no picture, not a lot of content in there, no summary or just a list of skills, and no recommendations, versus someone who's got a fully built out profile, picture, summary, and now has multiple recommendations for multiple positions. And you can think about who you want to recommend you, and you can actually ask them through LinkedIn to recommend you. So a recommendation could be on several different jobs, your current job, it could be your former boss. Again, what I would say to you here is think about as you're, in one of the sessions, there was someone who was in an administrative role and wanted to get into more of an HR role. And she was administrator for the chancellor or something like that. And I said, well, get a recommendation from the chancellor about your skills, if you have them, as they pertain to things outside of administrative work, right? Have intention in the recommendation, not just, hey, will you recommend me, right? And again, yes, they're a little bit deliberate, but they're more. Again, we've got recruiters here. You guys look at this stuff, right? It makes a difference. It's not the sole decision for someone to give you that job or that opportunity, but it certainly is part of a rock profile and part of making that statement. Question?
You're also signaling to maybe your colleague or boss that I'm transitioning out or I'm looking around.
I don't think so. The statement was that you're transitioning out or looking around. Like Kevin, whose summary was up there before, when he goes in and consults with companies, he asks the companies, if I did a good job, would you be open recommending me and saying what we did and why we did it and how I was to work with. So it doesn't have to feel like I'm just trying to get into something new. Yeah.
I have one question, and I'm hearing some of these, I guess, HR people. My only concern with photos sometimes is there's two things that I'm worried about. One is the racism, and the second one is age discrimination. I just kind of wonder, I mean, I know that this is to link and all, but sometimes with photos, I'm just wondering if a candidate, if somebody puts their photo up there, sometimes HR people the names sometimes distinguish ethnically what you are.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that closes the door before you even have an opportunity. So I kind of wonder sometimes, does this backfire for people? I mean, and then the age, you look at someone, I mean, you can kind of fudge some stuff, right?
Yeah.
If you're 50 plus.
It's a great question. I unfortunately am not qualified to answer that. I don't know if anyone else in the room.
I want to say something.
Yeah.
If somebody is going to discriminate on your race or your age, do you really want to work for them?
No, but that's not the point. The point is,
But you won't even get.
you don't even get looked at. The
Yeah.
application goes here instead of there. And that's all I'm saying. That's the only reason, when you say it's important to have your photo up there. And you were saying also, which I heard, was that, it's personal reasons. But I just kind of wonder with the HR people, when they're looking and they go, oh, an African-American woman, 50 plus, I figure. So, it's just kind of, I just kind of wonder if the doors close also in that. I mean, I think this is great, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
But there's the other part that really kind of concerns me.
Actually, maybe I can answer that question since I'm an HR professional.
Oh, great.
And I've done a lot of recruiting. I've got more than 30, almost 40 years in the business. I think that it kind of to what she was saying before is I think that people will discriminate. We all have biases, but I think we can't be afraid as individuals that somebody is going to be biased in some way or another. I think what we really want to do is put ourselves out there and be willing to take that risk and know that there are going to be people who are going to like us and people who aren't going to like us. And we have to be comfortable with that and go after the people who want us. And that's where we're going to be most successful. So I don't think that there's that level of selection criteria. I think that everybody has different things they're looking for when they're out there recruiting. Some people want somebody who's older, more mature, and more experienced. And frankly, this is my own personal thing. I can't tell somebody's age to save my life. I couldn't tell by looking at somebody what they are. To me, an adult is an adult. So I think we have to take risks, and I think we have to put ourselves out there, and I think we have to be comfortable doing that. And I think that those opportunities will come your way if you're confident about who you are. So that's what I would say. But maybe others have different opinions, and I'm happy to hear that too. I'm going to come around to this microphone.
You have a question or a comment on that?
Here you go.
This one may not be for everybody, but
You gotta.
one thing that I share with students is that with all of their social media, they have control over that. So if you're applying for a job that you feel might do that, you can always turn off your LinkedIn profile during that period. I know it's a very short-term thing, but like for myself, my personal life is my personal life, my professional life is my professional life. So I use LinkedIn and try to be as public as possible about my achievements. But with my Facebook, if I'm applying for a job, I turn all of those things off. Like, I know that sounds, but if I know that I'm going to be in a season of applying for a job and I want to be judged for the things that I want to be judged for, not that I have things out there that's like crazy, but I mean, my personal life is my personal life. I shut those things off. So if, LinkedIn should be something I think that should help people in their work life. And if it isn't an industry that you think LinkedIn is very useful for, or a next step that LinkedIn is not going to help you, it's a tool, then you can always experiment with it and not make it so public. And then once it is great to put out into the world, you can have control over that. So that's just another feedback to that, a tip.
Cool. Yeah, definitely, again, it just frames again, you're on LinkedIn, you maybe have a profile. I'm showing you guys how to rock it and just complete it, but it's a great question and one that should be a continued conversation internally here, for sure. And what's that? Or on LinkedIn. Hey, there you go. Put it out there in a group. Thank you. Nice plug. All right, so skills and expertise, or skills and endorsements, go together. So that's the next thing that we talk about. Some people also feel passionately about these. You have people endorsing you, right, for sometimes skills you marginally possess sometimes. I'm seeing some nods, or not at all, or who are these people endorsing me? Again, what we talk about, and again, you can have your own opinions and you can edit these yourself. There's a lot of editing you can do. You can reorder these under the edit profile screen. You can delete these entirely. You can remove yourself from being proactively served to other people to endorse. So go to edit profile, go down to this section and hit edit. But the point we want to make here is these are directional. So that when someone comes to your profile and you've reached out to them to network, you've reached out to them to talk about career growth, and they see these, it tells a story in its entirety, right? This person here, I would say with confidence, knows online marketing, knows blogging, knows digital marketing. I don't know that everyone who's endorsed them is accurate, but there's more value collectively than removing them entirely. Again, that's what we talk about. Some people still take them off, but I definitely urge you to take the power, take the time to reorder them or delete ones you don't feel are relevant to where you are or the skills you have or want to portray. Questions on these? Yes?
Quick recap, you pick your skills and endorse, or?
I'll repeat that. Quick recap, you pick your skills and people endorse. It happens both ways. I'm just going to show you guys if that's helpful. Under edit profile, if I come down here, so I've been a member for so long I kind of forget how it starts. I think we recommend skills based on your profile. Initially, people start endorsing you. But by clicking edit, here's that where I want to be endorsed, yes or no. include me in suggestions to other people. You can uncheck that. So again, if I'm, also into yoga and I want to portray that on my profile, I can punch that in. Now here it is. I don't have any endorsements for it yet, but now it'll start to be served to other people. I can take that and I can put it first, right? Or if SaaS isn't important, software as a service, which was probably a little bit from my previous career, I can delete that, or I can reorder it and take it down here. So it's both. You can add them, and then I do believe it was originally recommended when you first joined LinkedIn. Yoga would be my wife, so I'm going to delete that for now. But does, oh, so again, I was showing that. Is it up there? Did I take it off? So I did that because you can also, again, it's a little silly, those that are having fun can endorse you for other things. They can pick silly things. Again, don't accept them on your profile or just delete them. So thank you. I'm not a fire breather. But again, you're on LinkedIn. You've done the basics. You believe in what you can get from it and the power of the profile. We talk about leaving it up there, but controlling it. Make sense? The last thing, and then we can get into some content sharing and maybe some searching, is just being complete. No magic here. Again, we could absolutely have a good conversation around dates versus not dates on education. I think the thing here, and most of you guys know it, but I just want to state it again, not being a resume, we definitely talk about including things that you may not put on a resume. Things like volunteer experiences, causes you are passionate about. Again, if it feels authentic, do it. If it doesn't, that's okay. Languages you have, that might be the common connection. I've actually used language as a common connection when reaching out to someone and put us in touch. Join groups, other organizations, certifications in your field are certainly key to add. So again, you've done 90%, now complete it by filling out the profile. Make sense? Let me check the time. Question? Oh, here comes a microphone.
Along with working here at Berkeley, I also own a company with my husband. Do you have any suggestions on, well, I could put that up on LinkedIn, but which one should come first? Because the business is a secondary thing, but we are the primary owners.
Yeah.
So how would you wrap that in?
I mean, you said the business is the secondary thing. So
but it's fun. It's a comic book shop, so.
Yeah. I mean, from my standpoint, I think the profile is your opportunity to showcase what you want. So it's really up to you. I don't know if anyone else has a thought or a comment on it. It's really up to you. I mean, generally speaking, what I see most people do is if, like, one of our business heads has like a coaching business on the side, and he lists LinkedIn first and the coaching business second. Okay. Right? Primary versus secondary. Yeah. So we have 10 minutes. I could either just show you guys how to search your network on LinkedIn.com, the free site, or I could talk about content sharing with your network. Content sharing, I hear? Yeah? I'll be here for a few minutes after or outside. If anyone wants to talk about searching, we can do that. Yes?
Hi. I have a question more about the network itself.
Sure.
I'm an academic advisor here on campus, and I started my profile a while ago and then friended some students and then didn't friend or
connect. You didn't friend, yes.
Connect. Sorry. And so I'm curious to hear from others in the audience or from yourself of making connections with students, because I do see them asking for my support in writing recommendations or endorsing them, and they'll also do that for me, but it's kind of that gray area that I'm not sure what to do with.
Yeah. Let me give you my answer. This is more the broad answer than if anyone wants to also answer. You know, again, in that same vein of being on LinkedIn, I openly connect with people I know. I'm sure in your collective roles, if every student connected with you, it would just bury you. But some of these students will be our future bosses. And their networks are valuable to us and vice versa. So I think there's value in doing that. I'm often asked about family. Should I connect with family even though it's professional? I do personally. So I think, you know, be selective. If you know them is generally what I would do, but it's certainly up to you. And I don't know if others have had that challenge.
I was just going to ask Sherry, because the whole question of when is it appropriate to even give a recommendation or a reference when you're in a current position here for someone who was here, or anyway, you're representing the campus when you give that endorsement or that recommendation. What would you suggest? Because I think it starts getting fuzzy when you get into LinkedIn and all these endorsings, when people are looking at the endorsement as being from UC Berkeley and then putting us in a somewhat risky place.
It's not fair. I'm not the speaker here.
This is good. I like this.
It's not fair. I'm in the hot seat. You know, there's a gray area about giving references, right? So you have to think about giving references that are truthful and honest. If you don't know the person, if you don't know anything about them, then I think you have to be more cautious. I don't think you should ever say anything that isn't true, but I also think that you should be cognizant of how people are going to perceive what you say, whether it's the person you're saying it about or others who might read it. So I think there is a real fine line, and I think as an individual, you have to be authentic, but I think you need to also be careful. I mean, there's not a real perfect answer for that.
Yeah.
And it depends on why you're endorsing them. Are you endorsing them because they were an employee that worked for you or with you, or is this a friend or a family member? So again, I think it's hard to answer that question.
Yeah. You know what? If it's okay, if you can hold that one, we'll just go into content sharing. I'll do it quickly. How many of you guys actively share content on LinkedIn? Just a couple. Because you're thinking, like, what do I share? Where should I get the content from? Right? Those types of things. If you're a little timid, you can always start by liking things in your network updates on the homepage. But what we talk about in this sense is, you know, if you're doing two different kinds of updates, you can share information about UC Berkeley and cool stuff going on campus. And you can also share things that are personal interest and industry news. For recruiters, we definitely talk about sharing jobs as well. But for this purpose, I think it's sharing company information, which you can get if you just punch in UC Berkeley. We would consider this your company page. So in the search bar, you would type in UC Berkeley, the company, not the university. And the reason I say that is because your marketing teams are putting updates out there, and you can just go onto that page. Again, if it's if you're just dipping your toe in the water, like it, or then you can comment on it or share it right from there. So super easy to do, to find something that's interesting that the company's put out. And generally speaking, it's already approved because someone in marketing put it up there. So that's an easy way to start sharing information about Berkeley. Make sense? Question?
Sorry. We tried to make a LinkedIn page at our work, and which is the Center for Latin American Studies at UC Berkeley. But the Goldman School of Public Policy already had one, and they wouldn't let us make a different one because we both had the same berkeley.edu.
Yeah.
Has that changed, or is it possible for smaller units to have their own LinkedIn page as part of the larger Berkeley campus without ruling each other out?
I'm going to answer that in a short way, which is, I think there's a desire for all these groups, not just here, elsewhere, to create a page. But I think a lot of the benefit can be achieved in other ways. As you're shaking your head. Now, again, I don't your area specifically, so the answer is no. You need a unique email address.
Okay.
But after my last session, a gentleman from the museum here was talking to me about the same thing. I think a ton can be done by the employees in the museum sharing content, and then building up enough interest to create a page. Your instance may be different, but unfortunately you need a unique email address.
Can they create a group instead of a page?
Can create a group. You know, have you looked at group creation? I'd be happy to talk with you after about that. I just want to kind of run through this quickly. So again, start sharing information about UC Berkeley, about what's interesting to you. If you're sharing things about what you're interested in doing. The other thing is, I mentioned we're the #1 digital business publisher. So there's a lot that you can share that's already on LinkedIn. We've got different channels, which would be under the Pulse. So it's interests, Pulse. I can quickly show you guys, if that's helpful. It's a little bit hidden, okay? So under Pulse, Discover, okay, this is where we have all our influencers, what's recommended for me or for you. Influencers you can follow, okay? Channels, education, technology, leadership. Publishers you can follow here. So if you're following these, you're going to be served content from these folks, and then you can share directly from there. Something Jack Welch writes, or something that you see from Forbes in this case, or whatnot. Question?
I have a question about like when you share things like that, like news or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
When people see your page, because I've never shared anything, but I'm just curious if when they look at your page, is there a way for them to see everything that you've ever shared, like Facebook in a way where they can see all your history, or is it just on the home page and then it disappears?
Right. The question is around is the update, is there a way to see all that person's updates over time? Yes and no. I think there is. It's not easy to navigate to. It's intentionally shorter than we're on Facebook. You've got the whole history.
What about yourself? Do you check yourself what you've been liking and posting on?
You can check yourself. And you can check the performance of what you're sharing to help you figure out what you want to share next. So that the best way to get to that is off the home page here. Who's viewed your updates? Okay. So if you're doing it, that's where you get the content from to get you started. Obviously, as many of you know, there's the in-share button across many sites online. So you can share directly from there. You can always copy and paste the URL directly into your homepage. Okay? How often should you share? If you're doing it and you want to really drive results in terms of being a thought leader, we talk about 2 to 3 times per week. Our high traffic times are lunchtime and coffee time. So those are the best times. I've had success Friday afternoon, frankly. So if you're doing it, just have intention on when you're doing it. Don't do it on the weekend when our traffic goes way down. Keep it brief.
How about sharing to a group?
And use Rich Media, ask a question. The question is sharing to a group?
Just to a group. I wouldn't want to share it, but just to one of the groups I belong to.
Sure.
How do you do that?
There's a couple different ways. Do other people have that question? How do I just share to a group?
Yes.
Yes? So this is sharing with your network, right? Sharing to a group could put you much broader than that. So you can actually go into the group and start a discussion and then post an article or something like that. Hey, guys, I'd love your opinion on this article. Is that kind of what you're asking?
No, sharing from something else. I guess, I don't know if that's reposting, but.
You can also hear. So if I pasted a link in here, well, I can't do it here. So I think you'd have to go into the group and post it. Okay? Yeah, question.
Is there a way to share with a subsection of your actual network? So let's say, there's certain people in my network that I think would like certain things, and other people that wouldn't, so I want to share with 50 of the 500 people or whatever it is. Is that possible?
No. It's not possible to share with a subsection of your group. It's 3 o'clock. I'm sorry we're getting cut short. Oh, we have 10 more minutes? Look at that. Let's keep going. Good, because I want to show you the long form posts. So yeah, so content sharing on LinkedIn is really about sharing to all your connections. Go to groups specifically, start a discussion or comment on something there. Or if you're hiring in a certain area, you could certainly post a job to that group internally to promote that. But in general, sharing is out to all your connections. And you can link it up with Twitter and then share it in multiple locations. That is not a hard rule. That's just to get started in sharing content. Information about your university, information that's of personal interest to you or the higher education industry. Okay, that'll get you started. So I mentioned the long form post. Has anyone done this, seen this? Cool. Let me show you what it is first. Well, I guess I can just show you the screenshot. So here's James. He's at LinkedIn. So you can see basically articles or posts he's written right below his profile here. Okay? So if I click on that, I actually get, just as I would an influencer article or some other article on LinkedIn, I've got a full article that he wrote and basically shared with his network, right? This is a big difference for us from the standpoint that now anyone soon will be able to post any article that they write on LinkedIn. So the way you do this and the way you check if you have this access today is this little pencil on your homepage. If you hover over it, it'll say create a post, and it'll pop this up. Okay, if you don't have it, you can write this down. I'll give the presentation to the team here. You can ask our LinkedIn team if you can get kind of pilot access while we're rolling this out more broadly. And I would guess some of you have that access today. No? It would be right here if you have that access. You see this little create a post? So again, it's coming. Yeah, oh yeah, you bet. I'm sorry. specialedition.linkedin.com/publishing. Would anyone want to do this? Write articles already or have a blog? Yes? A few yeses? I could do 5 minutes of questions. I could do searching your network. Searching your network. Yes. Okay. Let's do that quickly. So I like to use the advanced search. I think our search is good, but it's a little bit sometimes hard to navigate because there's a drop down. So use the advanced search. I have a premium account, but what I'm showing you here would be in a free LinkedIn.com, and I think that's more than acceptable. But what this enables you to do, it should come into people or click on people. If I want to search across my network of whatever it is, 1,000 people for specific first degree connections, second degree connections, or group connections, I'll use the same example that I did in the first session. So apologies again. I don't know tennis coaches. I don't think I do. But now I'm searching my network, first, second, and group connections for anyone who has the keyword tennis coach in their LinkedIn profile. I get 244 results. I could have put job title specifically. I'm sure it would be much less. But you can see the second degree connections coming up to the top here and how I'm connected to these people, right? Someone I worked with at NASDAQ knows this gentleman. Oh. I'm connected via someone I went to Emory with, to Jeff. And this is the one I was showing earlier today. Here's the head women's coach at St. John's University who's connected to a fraternity brother of mine. So if I wanted to talk to her about changing my career to be a tennis coach, I'm gonna have a lot more success going through Rand, his name is Rand Sachs, than I am gonna going cold directly to Taka, right? So here's how you can search, and I can actually go onto her profile and do and use the Get Introduced button, right? To go through Rand, or I can reach out to Rand, my connection, to reach out.
So earlier, what I wanted to share was, I'm a student advisor as well, and I had one of my recent graduates contact me through LinkedIn, and she said, hey, I'm interested in interviewing for, she was interested in interviewing for Harder & Company, a social impact research firm. And she noticed that I had a connection, and she wanted me to connect with her. And it just so happened that the connection was my best friend and roommate. So she got the interview. And so it was a great example of how LinkedIn can really make our global work, our global community, our community more global.
You want to come up and present here? No, it's absolutely, it's absolutely true. Again, why would the head women's coach at St. John's talk to me? But then if I reach out to Rand and let's say Taka was his babysitter, or something growing up, and he knows her well, or neighbor, and I say, could you introduce me? And before you know it, we hit it off. And again, it's about the warm introduction, whether you're building your career, finding your next job, networking, versus the cold, that makes all the difference in the world. And again, many people don't use this advanced search and are surprised by how many people are in their second degree, right? The people who know the people we know. That can be a huge impact on the conversations we want to have to advance our careers. The question is, do recruiters see the same search interface that you do? No. Recruiters see a really powerful version of this. Yes. Your recruiters are right here. They can go into that. No, I mean, is your point to make your profile as searchable as possible? Is that the...
How do we do it, or do they search specifically in our skills? Should I include Word in my skills, because if they search that and I count it, then it's screwed, but everything is going to work.
I'll search words.
Yeah, there's, it's keywords, it's filters, like, again, on my premium account, I have some filters on the side, your industry, your year's experience, your seniority level. But I think if you've got a good profile and you've got intention and you're leveraging your network, they'll find you. We got to wrap it up. So there was a survey, right? If you guys can fill that out. Thank you guys. Appreciate the feedback and the questions. And we'll wrap it there. Thanks.